Are we on right now? All right. I think we're on right now. Welcome to the stream. Sorry we're a bit late. We were very early trying to get this going, but it took a long time to work through all the tech problems. But we're here now, and we're gonna answer some questions about Laps, song that I released a few weeks ago. I had some questions on Instagram yesterday, so I might, you know what, if anyone in the chat has questions, why don't we do those first? And if you commented yesterday and you're in the chat, then just like blow it up, and I will answer your question as a priority. Check the width. Here we go. Oh, okay, cool. Analog workflow. Let's do this. Cool. Let me bring that up. Thanks, Makova Music. Yeah, okay. So I record a lot from my I try to keep it simple, but I record a lot from my Prophet 6 and my Mini Moog, and it's the Mini Moog I have is one of the reissues that has MIDI. So as far as like what I'm recording when I'm using MIDI and when I'm not, it just depends on the part. If it's like something that needs to be locked, if it's like the main bass line of the song, or like a sequence, or an ARP or something. Actually, ARPs can be unquantized just from the Prophet, I guess. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, okay. So with latency, what I do is I just don't monitor through Ableton when I record. So I just monitor through my sound card, which is an Apollo, and then I can hear directly what's happening, and then I just adjust the clip after it's been recorded. That goes if I'm doing MIDI, because if I'm recording MIDI, if I'm recording through MIDI, then I'm usually like tweaking the sound as I go. So like with sequences, I'll be opening cutoffs and whatever, changing the envelopes as I go, modulating. Same for bass lines as well. But I don't tend to record a lot of bass lines audio. Mostly plugins for bass lines. But yeah, the latency thing's annoying, but I just try to ignore it and then adjust the clip afterwards. All right, what do we got? What's the part I'm most proud of production-wise? With Laps, it's hard to say what I'm most proud of. I think it's like a very ambitious idea. The original idea was that I was going to essentially have like three, like almost like a classical piece that has like three movements, but like taking that concept to the like 2020, where it was like the first movement would have like a whole set of sounds, and the second movement a completely different sounds, and the third completely different. So like all different drums, everything. And I kind of over the years I slowly walked back that idea. But I think just I'm happy with some of the like cinematic sounds I got to make in this track, and it's the longest track I ever made, so it was I don't know, just pulling the whole thing together and making it feel epic. I'm proud of it for sure. Okay, let's talk about my drums. People always ask me about my drums. I have friends that call me like Drum Man. Shout out Paluma. Okay, so the thing with my drums, let's go to we're looking at the session. All right, so this is my drum group right here. So you can see a lot of MIDI, and when there is audio, you can see that I make a lot of cuts. I hate warping, so if there's ever any loops, I'm always like editing them, cutting them. Even like this loop that looks like a loop on the inside, it's like if you go into it, I've adjusted the decay envelope is the effect that this has here. But I'm just very particular with my drums, and every hit is like considered. The timing of it's considered, and it's there for a reason. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I'm just a psycho with my drums, so I just spend a lot of time, and I try not to cut corners. Like, it might take me 20 minutes to chop up a loop, where I could just chuck it on and warp it, but it wouldn't sound as good or be as tight. So I just take the time and edit it. Yeah. Come on, oh, okay. Let's talk my voice. I think I just I just always think like, what haven't I tried yet? What haven't I done? Like, what's something that I like that I haven't done yet? And I've recorded my voice a bunch on the album, but like not on. I don't know. I guess at the time when I was doing this, I hadn't done I was more so like singing on some of the tracks on the album, but I hadn't done like any chop vocal yet, and I was like, let me just mess around and see what happens. Just experimentation, and then I liked it, so I kept it in. I normally absolutely hate my voice, so I guess if I don't hate it, then I was like, it's probably okay, I should leave it in. Okay, what took me forever with this track? It's just like it evolved so much. Like the original version of the song, I started it with my friend Elizabeth Rose, and it had like a vocal and completely different chords. We just had like this one set of chords that were totally different with a vocal. And then I like added more chords onto that, and then slowly over time, it's like all the original chords that we'd done had gone, and it was all new, and there was like nothing actually from what we'd done, but it just evolved slowly. There's so many little. Well, actually, one of the things that I was also experimenting with when I started this track, see these like these two channels down here, the green and like pink channel. So I'll play you guys those so you can hear. Here's the pink one. I don't even know if you can hear this. And then the green one. And that probably just sounds like random atmospheres, but both of those loops that I made have a note to them. So I was really into this idea of making like something that was more of like a texture but had a note. And then like with these two, they're two different notes. So you start to make a chord, right? And then when you don't put a bass line in, you've like got a 3-voice chord without really like being obvious about it. So you get the feeling of a chord, but without like the notes of a chord. So yeah, I don't know. That took a lot of time. Everything in this song took a lot of time. Nothing was came together quickly. All right, tips on bass sound design processing. My big thing with like the main sounds in a track is just like not using presets, because usually a preset is overcomplicated, has a bunch of, I don't know, weird effects and phasing possibly going on. Like if you just get a good instrument like my Mini Moog, Can you guys see that? Oh yeah, this guy up here, this thing, like that, and even the Arturia plugin, the Mini V, like they both sound great. And just start from the like initial patch. Or like usually all you need is like 2 oscillators, like the sub oscillator and and then like something an octave up. Even then, sometimes you just need one. And like I've just learned over the years, the less you do to bass sounds, the bigger they can sound. Like I'm really happy with the low end on this. The bass, the main bass on this at the start of the song is the Mini Moog, which I recorded here. And I don't know, I got it to do this weird like filter modulation that I was trying to recreate the other day, but I couldn't quite get it, so I'm not sure how I did it. But so yeah, and there's like, you can see there's not much on it. Max bass, an EQ, or 2 EQs. Here's the fab filter. Yeah, so, but then for the big one that sounds really big, this guy, boom. That is just the Arturia Mini Moog. What do we got here? I'm using all 3 oscillators, but the third one's pretty soft. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff on here, it looks like, but well, there just flat out is a bunch of stuff, I guess, but it's all doing pretty subtle stuff, I think. Wow, okay. That doesn't look that subtle, but like in my mind this is subtle. Yeah, just make a good sound, like be really attentive to the envelope, the amp envelope and the filter envelope, and just try to get it sitting in the right place. And the better you get it, don't try to like put effects and treatment into making it sound fat. All right, I'm looking for some other questions. Apollo. Oh, that sounds weird. This MIDI sending thing, the audio comes back early. I've never had that. That's strange. I would you probably already have, but I would try to like flash the Apollo with like new firmware or something. Maybe that's so strange. If you calculate driver error compensation, yeah, I could, but it's so much easier for me to adjust. It takes 2 seconds. And sometimes I like it to be like 5 milliseconds delayed or whatever. So, but that's a good tip. If maybe you could do reverse driver error compensation to bring it if it's coming in early. Yeah, okay. Plugins for bass lines, pretty much just my Mini Moog and the Mini V. Oh yeah, here we go. Durante's entered the chat. Okay, so when we were doing the eyes, Durante is if you don't know him, he's an amazing producer in LA as well. And we have been friends for a long time, and we did a remix for Rufus Du Sol, and he was showing me this Waves plugin, and he was like, man, it just like makes the low end sound so sick. So I have kind of been using it since he showed it to me. And I've kind of progressed this up to where there's 6 instances of it, which is totally ridiculous, and I would not recommend anyone to do this. But I don't know, like the way I look at like something like this, like putting things on like a drum bus just to make it all sound better, absolute last resort. There's so many. I used to try to do stuff like this when I was I don't know, not able to make things sound how I wanted it to, and I would think that just that would make it sound how I wanted it to, and it doesn't. But if you've got things sounding how you want, some like using some bus processing, group processing can help make it that little bit better. Faint vocals you hear in the intro. Oh, okay. This is fun. So when I started this song, I just bought this plugin called Speakerphone, which is like this crazy. I'll open it up. It's like this crazy old school. Look at this thing, crazy old school sound design plugin. I think mainly for movies. So I recorded these chords, which you can hear like this. But then I ran them through speakerphone. And so what speakerphone's doing is basically emulating the sound through a mobile phone. And also there's a sample, a recording from, it's called Station Grand Center, that is just playing, that gets added to it. Which you could just find some Foley and layer it in, but I've really liked the workflow of having it all in one plugin. This is the weirdest, coolest plugin, and it's really expensive, so I wanted to use it as much as I could. And yeah, I really love what it did here, and I used it a bunch on the album for instead of trying to just filter or whatever to make that kind of interesting like telephone kind of lo-fi sounds. This has a bunch of amazing I think they're all impulse response generated, like they've actually recorded the sound through like a bunch of sources, and then you can kind of emulate that. All right. Some synth processing. Okay, yeah. So again, I think I know I don't, I guess, but I always try to keep it simple. But a good example of like using processing to make a sound is this sound that comes in at kind of the big the first drop. This sound right here. So you can see this is like all one audio clip. So I would have sent MIDI to the Prophet and then just been modulating the envelopes and the filter, but it has a big echo buoy on it, and without the echo, this is what it sounds like. And like the echo actually like adds a melody, like, well, to me anyway, like I hear that as like not just the. So that's how I like to use echo as like a creative tool for synths. You can also like, instead of putting a reverb on a synth, you can also put like a subtle like eighth tap that's like filtered down, add some stereo, whatever. But yeah, whatever. I mean, on this sound, I have echo. I have some saturation from the UAD Studio right here. And I have reverb, Valhalla. Yeah, and it all kind of adds to the color of it. For a sound like this, because it's kind of percussive, it's better with saturation. I don't like saturating pads unless they're like really empty harmonically. It just like adds too much information, too many harmonics. Alright, where are we at? Let's do some more. What I like about the Prophet 6, oh man, everything about it. I just love the way it looks, the way it feels. When I was in Australia before I moved to the States, I had a bunch of synths and I left them all there, and when I came here I just bought the Prophet 6 and I was like, I just want to learn this thing inside out, and I make all my sounds on it from scratch. I don't go through presets or whatever, not because I guess I am kind of against presets, but I just make all my sounds from scratch, and my sounds always end up sounding the same, and that's how I kind of developed. Like when you're always the one making the sounds, they tend to always sound the same, and that's how I like developed a sound, I think, or at least like figured out a sound that I wanted to make an album with, Yeah, favorite delays and reverbs. Okay. Yeah, Echo Boy, amazing. So deep. There's do I have one here? Let me see. I don't think I do, but there's like some effects I made with Echo Boy that I use on most tracks. For ambiences, Valhalla Shimmer is amazing, and I've used that on this track. Let me see where it comes in, and I will show you what it sounds like. It's the best way to do builds. Oh, here we go. There's a bunch of them. So this is leading up to the first like main drop. This shimmer layer in the background. Isn't that nice? Oh yeah, and I put a frequency shifter on it as well. No one cares. No one's gonna notice that, but I like it. Can you like hear that? Yeah. Shimmer. Man, what else is good? Ambiences. Just like anything that can be long. So like, yeah, delays, long reverbs. There's also a bunch of like grain delay effects that I made on this to use as like ambiences too. I think, where are we? Yeah, here we go. Here's an example. So I just kept it simple, Ableton grain delay into an actual delay to extend it. And then just, yeah, EQ and compression to control it a bit. But really like that. Yeah, Durante, that NLS strip is ridiculous, but it does sound good. If your drums like already sound good and you put that on, it doesn't work on everything, but like on the type of drums I normally use on my stuff, like where they're quite clean, it's really nice. Man, Makova, I feel bad for you, dude. I would just hit up all the tech support people from all those companies. If they can't help you, then I don't know. It could be the laptop. That's so strange. Okay. All right. Where are we at? See some more cues. All right. Wow, I'm so far behind the comments. Okay. Okay, the wood block clap. Sorry, I'm going slow, guys. But I could talk about this shit forever. All right, so yeah, that rim. I didn't even do anything to it. Yeah. A little bit of reverb on it. Mono, important. It's just a nice sound. That is just by far the most important thing. Like listening, having a good listening environment, and just listening like really carefully when you're choosing sounds. Because I used to just hear something that kind of was what I wanted, and then I would try to make it sound good with effects and EQ and compression and overdo it. And it's like you just got to spend the extra. I mean, sometimes you can't find the sound and you have to just give up, but like yeah, just find the right sound. It's huge. The title, Lapse. Okay, so the album is called Lapse. The whole concept behind it is about doing laps, like cycles, loops. I like wrote and kind of arranged the album through the lens of like lapse of relationships, of being on your own, meeting someone, going through all the phases, all the way to the end of being alone again. So this song being the last track on the album is the final kind of the final like returning back to the beginning. Yeah, so that's why it's called Lapse. returning back to that beginning point and getting ready to start again and do it all over again. Yeah, okay, if you use Ableton, the frequency shifter is so tight. Yeah, I use it a lot. It's way easier than like trying to send like I do this sometimes as well, send like a LFO from Max into like a utility to get like kind of volume modulation. But that's such an easy, interesting way. And you also have the panning and stuff too. Damn, you guys are talking about buffer sizes here. Durante with the tech support. Good man. Okay, the drums. Man, it's just like if you see, it's really quite simple. It's just like the subtle. I keep it simple, and then the subtle things are what adds all the groove, you know. So there's a fair bit of stuff playing. One thing that's injecting a lot of vibe. This little shaker, which is just like a kind of music shaker that I chopped up again because warping is bad. We don't like to warp, so we just chop things up. Also, there's this other shaker beneath it. This shaker is pretty fun, which again I chopped up. Look at that! Every sample's got fades on it because I'm a psycho. So this shaker adds like, I don't know, so subtle, but adds like such a good emphasis. What else we got? Oh, the percussion stuff. Yeah, this is fun. I like to make like one loop from lots of little smaller sounds. So this little thing, which I had a drum rack of like, there's 4 sounds on there that I was messing with. Oh, this is kind of cool. Just one hit with a delay. Is there any? Okay, no, nothing fun happening there. Another little random sound. I mean, I don't want to be stereotypical, but I think like I have a very distinct taste in drums, and I am also half African and listened to African music growing up, which is like so rhythm based. So I feel like some of it's got to come from that. But I don't know. I just program all the shit and take a lot of time doing it. So whether if you like it or don't like it, it's what it is it's exactly how I want it to be, which is as much as anyone can hope for. Also on this track, there's a big thing that drives the rhythm. There's a couple of things. There's a few little things in the bass. So there's this kind of this thing adds a lot of energy to, and I guess it's kind of a drum. It really is, because it's this layered with and then like those rhythms combined with the rhythms of the sequence. It's just like everything plays a part. Like every little kind of what I was saying before with the textures that are actually notes and using those to like make chords in a weird way. It's like if you think of every element in the track as like adding to the rhythm, and you don't just like overdo certain parts of the rhythm, things can gel together in such a nice way. Do you mix as you produce? Yeah, I do. I'm a mixer. I mix a lot of music for other people, and I try to break it up a little bit now for me. Because what I was saying before about like choosing sounds, I was mixing and knew how to make things sound okay. So I would just think that I could just choose whatever sound and make it sound okay. Because I was, working on other people's music and getting sounds and making them sound good. And so I was like, I can do that. And but I'm trying now, and I have been trying, and what actually helped with the album a lot was just letting things be demos and be rough and sound a bit rough, and then trying to get the production, the core of the production and the idea of the song done, and then move on to like mixing / production phase where it's like maybe I'm swapping sounds, whatever. Do I do any multi-band sidechain? No, I was talking to one of my friends, Sean, about this the other day. He was saying that he sidechains everything below 90 hertz. And I just, part of feeling like I was more able to make things sound how I wanted to was like not just realizing that there wasn't like one little technique or trick that I could do, and I just had to like get better at listening. And I used to have little techniques like that I would lean on, where I go, well, if I do like this or that, then it'll make everything sound better. And multi-band sidechain is one of those things that's so specific that like I mean, maybe in like 10 years when I'm like, damn, I just really need to sidechain off a tiny bit of like 180 off the bass when the vocal comes in, then I would do that. But like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of other stuff that 99% of people can do that will make their stuff sound better. Or it could also be like a very like genre specific thing. Like I know in like Noisier, for example, are like known for when their like kick and snare hit, it's like completely silent. I remember What's So Not showing me that. Where there's, that's like a weird technique that I would never do, but for their music it really works, so whatever. Sound source on my drums. Yeah, all kinds of random samples. I don't record drum machines. I've just never like heard one that I loaded up the sample and was like, hell yeah. I'm very picky, so I don't know. I've just been one thing that's helped me a lot the last few years and helped with the album was just making my own sample pack and just sticking to like a few kicks once I found good ones that I liked. Where are we? Thanks, KD. That reverse shaker. Yeah, I like it. How many hours did I spend on the EP? I don't want to know. I don't want to think about that. Because this song alone, I was working on for 3 years. On and off, like wasn't constant, but like I was working on this for 3 years, so too much time. Okay, what's happening? I'm going through the track, I'm answering questions, so if you got questions, hit me up. I'm talking about laps. Am I looking for my own James Hunt? I already have a James Hunt. Yeah, I already have a James Hunt, so I don't know. I think I'm good, but thank you. How to make a groovy drum pattern. All right. It's great. I used to be using groove pools and all this stuff to have like subtly different timings, but everything now that I do is straight, and you get that if everything is straight, and then you have a couple elements that are slightly off the grid, that has like a really big effect. So I mean, with this track, it's so simple. The kick is just. The kick's just, straight down the line. This kick's distorted a little bit with this thing. It's just really subtle though. And then there's a bit of reverb on the kick. Which I tried to put reverb on kicks for 10 years and I only just started being able to do it in a way I thought it sounded good. So be careful with that. All these shakers and stuff. So simple 16th, but just like a nice pattern, This little thing's cool, but doesn't. I guess it adds a little bit to the groove, but it's more for the like texture of it, I guess. Yeah, everything is like. What else is going on with this sound? Oh yeah, a little bit of velocity, like the main off eighth is louder than the 16th that follows it. Yeah, I don't know, you just got to feel it, and you just, you start simple, start with the backbone, and then just keep adding and experimenting and adding things that sound good, and just making sure that you're not like putting 8 elements on the off 8th beat. It's going to overload that element, and that part of the rhythm is going to feel too heavy. Like, I look at the rhythm like, I don't even know how to describe it. I never really think about it, but it's like, it's one whole, like one bar is like 16 beats. You have in a bar, you have 16. I mean, sometimes more if you're doing like a little tight trill or something, but really you got 16. You have 16 beats, and it's just how you place them volume wise and with what element that is. That's all you've got. So you just have to be creative with it, I guess, and just do what feels right on the song. And yeah, always less is more is what I find though. Too much, it just feels like it's just flat 16ths. I'm cute. Come back to SF. You're cute, and I'm coming back. Yeah, okay, so the techno kick. So originally, if you guys were listening earlier, I was saying how, if you were in the stream earlier, I was saying that this track originally was like 3 different sections that all had totally different drums, and the middle section had a crazy long distorted techno kick with a reverb on it and all this stuff. It was like totally out of control. I wonder if I don't think it's in the session anymore, but it was like I'm going to get really specific, but I like I like my kicks to be under 250 milliseconds, like never longer. This kick was like 400 or 500 milliseconds long and had reverb on it and all this stuff. So, and I really liked how it felt, but I wanted to have, once I got towards the end of the track, I realized I just needed to have 1 kick in the track instead of 3, because that's just ridiculous. So I chose one that was like, tried to make one that still had a bit of that techno element to it, but like so subtle that I don't know. I don't really know if it makes a difference, but it feels good to me. So yeah, creative process for the drum patterns. Yeah, I just start simple, and I kind of have ideas of what I want to do. Like I don't especially on like remixes and stuff, I don't like to just do the same thing all the time. So it's like, okay, if I've done 16th shakers recently, maybe I'll try to do 16th with like a different kind of element. But I also do shakers on every track, so I don't know. You just with this track, where are we? Oh, there's a whole different set of drums kind of on the intro. Let's have a look at those. So okay, this is kind of an example of what I was trying to explain with, like, you have 16 beats and you just get to choose what sound and where they're placed. So I've got this little guy, and then there's this, and then in between the kick and like with the clap, these things never overlap. And without overdoing it, I find that the more you can use different sounds to do different parts of the rhythm, just the better it feels. Like if that was all, like if this was all just like if instead of this hit, it was all just the like this. Whoa. It's just more fun when it's broken up across a few different sounds, you know? And yeah, I just always start simple and I build it up and I just add stuff, and I work really slowly, so like, and I try not to get too excited or get too carried away in the moment. I let myself go sometimes, but for the most part, I'm just trying to keep a level head, and like I'll add something and I'll listen to it for like 20-30 minutes, and if I start not liking it or like hear flaws in it, then I'll just get rid of it and try something else until I find the right thing. Yeah. Do I have a sample pack? No, but Rufus Du Sol and also Hayden James, who I work on their music both of those guys, they've both been talking about doing sample packs, so we might be doing something. I think the Rufus one, we're going to do something for you guys, because we really want to do it, especially now that my record's finished and Solace has done, like, I don't know, when did that come out, a year or two ago? So there's a lot of sounds we want to share for sure. All right. What elements of laps like control? Okay, yeah. So I've only played laps once, and it's like a really it's just a long song, and it's a lot of like small elements. There's not like big hooks to it really. I guess like in the breakdown of the song. So when I played it at Crossed in San Diego, what did I play? I think I played the sequence. I ran the sequence to my microKORG, which is this thing, which I called the Halo God sequence because I got carried away in the moment and I liked it. Yeah, this thing. So I ran that, just modulating that. And there's so much fun modulation on this. Like the octaves on this, I really love when it flicks up an octave. Also, I played this part, that's from my Prophet. That's just like, all my synth sounds sound like that, but I really like it. Just Prophet, saw wave, nice amp envelope with a bit of release and a little bit of pitch modulation. The LFO. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, I played there's some hits in the track that I played on the SPD, and they don't run that often in the track, but I played them a bit more often. I was kind of jamming them through the track. This sound. It's like a weird bell or something. Oh, how old was I when I started making music? All right. So from when I grew up with with a piano in the house, which was really lucky, and so I was always playing piano. Then when I was like 11, my dad got a job in a different city, so we all moved to this new city, and I just used that as a bargaining chip to get them to buy me a guitar, my parents. So started playing guitar then, and then I was in bands in high school and started going to studios when I was like 15 and recording, recording tracks and watching engineers use Pro Tools and stuff like that. I started making music when I was like 17, had zero idea what I was doing, like no idea. It was horrible for a long time. It was at a stage I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. Yeah, I always feel like I'm not getting anywhere, apart from like the last year or something when I decided to do this album. I don't know. Yeah. Look, the thing with music is as long as you're just always learning and getting better and being self-critical about where you can improve, and then actually working on those things, and then if you just don't stop, that's all you have to do. Just don't stop like making music, and then you're always getting somewhere, even if it's like, I don't know, you're not getting more followers on Instagram or whatever, but like if you're learning new chords, you're learning you're listening to your music like really critically and figuring out where it can be better, like what can be improved. Like you're listening to music that you love and you're able to recognize what's great about it, what makes you love it, then it's just a journey, constant journey. The concept of the artwork. So that's actually the artwork for the album. It's a bit confusing because on Spotify there's like 4 tracks, but that's the artwork for the album. So if you're in the stream earlier, I was talking about the concept of the album is the concept of doing laps in relationships, and it's from starting alone, going, meeting someone, falling for them, there's problems in the relationship, you break up, maybe you get back together, then you break up again, and then you get all the way back around to the point of being alone again, but also ready to start that whole cycle again with someone new. And so that's what the artwork's about. There's kind of the 4 seasons, or the 4 main stages are represented in the artwork. Do I write a lot of the synths on hardware or soft synths? Yeah, when I'm writing, it's always on the Prophet and the Moog. That's where and I also have a piano in this room. And since I've been in this room, I've been just messing around on the piano a lot. All the writing gets done on instruments. And then when I'm trying to get a specific sound, that's when I might change it up and go for a plug-in or something. Yeah, I think that I love that warmth. I love the sound of analog. I don't, not particularly attracted to digital sound. I don't like when everything's just, my stuff sounds clean, I think, but I always try to put a bit of grit and crunch in there and record a lot of audio. And I think the sum of all those little things adds up to something that sound. I don't know. It's just making things how I like to sound. So I think that's what being an artist is you have, you just do what you like, what you want. Where do I get my toms? Yeah, the tom I was playing before, the ones at the start, it's just a simple 808. It's just the little, it's just the way I treated it. Just tiny bit of EQ, which is based off the pitch of the sound. A little bit of Ableton Overdrive is super underrated, really good plugin if you just use it subtly. Yeah, a little bit of EQ, that's all. Leveling. This sample is from Gold Baby, which is a lot of my drums come from Gold Baby packs. They're just recorded with such love. The most high quality samples. I love the Gold Baby stuff. They have the best 808s, best 909s, best 707s, all the drum machines. Can I make the one out? No, it took me 3 years to make this song. I can't make a track in an hour. I mean, maybe I could, but I wouldn't want anyone to hear it because it wouldn't be my vision, The kazoo. I wonder if I have that. I probably have the kazoo with me somewhere. What synth are these in the Drop Treaty Better remix? I did that with the Arturia Jupiter 8, just because it has a great reverse saw ramp down LFO shape that is super punchy. So I was able to modulate using that, and that's how you get that effect. Let's see. Yeah, all right. First hardware synth, Prophet 6. It's my favorite synth. It's expensive, but it's amazing. If you want a cheaper option, like a Korg mini log is good. I know Durante's got one of those. I've got one of those. Use it in my live show. It does the job. It does a really good imitation of most of the sounds that are from my Prophet. So it's a good synth. What else can I show you in this track? Didn't ask about my vocal much, guys. Yeah. LFO chord and treat you better. Yeah, I might do that. How long did it take me to find my own sound? Yeah. I think I only really... I think I only really found it 6 months ago. And I had all these... I'd been releasing songs and they were kind of helping me to frame what the sound was. And then I had all the demos from the album. And then when it became time to really finish the album, that's when I really zoned in on what the sound is. And I guess just in the last few years it's come together. But yeah, I've been making music for well, actually, wait, no, like 12 years in making music in Ableton. So, man, it took a long time. But, I mean, some of my friends will tell me that I had a sound, like, years ago. They could always tell when it was something that I'd done. And even if you listen to my old remix I did for Rufus of Take Me, it's not even on Spotify, but, like, you can hear, I don't know, you can hear some stuff in there. There's always been things I've been trying to do, but I feel like I'm only just been able to do them how I want pretty recently. Yeah, okay. The vocal. So, it's really just, yeah. So let's go back here. So, I just, like a weirdo, got on the mic and was like, oh, a bunch of times, and then I put them in a drum rack. Lots of auto-tune is very important if you're a bad singer like me or like whatever. But anyway, so I have a bunch of different hits, but they're all the same note, but the hits are slightly different. So I don't know, it feels good to me. It feels like a bit more natural than just this exact same hit. And that's actually what's good about a drum machine, like an analog drum machine, is that if it's analog, each hit is being generated fresh, so it's slightly different, really subtly. That's the thing with analog synths too, I guess. Yeah, I think what was fun with this is that just adding the harmony there, and then I add like a octave as well, delays and stuff. Just tried to treat it like an instrument, I guess. There's kind of a few hits where they link up, well, a lot of them really. Yeah, I use a limiter when I'm doing my own masters, but I have I've always worked with like pro mastering engineers. I don't think I know in dance music a lot of people like to master their own stuff, but you could, like, the whole point for me of having someone master it who's not me is I just want someone else, like I want someone who I trust and respect to have put their ear on the track. And like I've been working on these tracks for, I don't know, at the quickest I ever do a track is like a few months. So there's certain things that can just build up and you start to miss, no matter how observant you try to be. You just get demo-itis. So I work with a mastering engineer here in LA who does all my stuff, and he was like super patient with me and instrumental in helping me finish the album, because he would do a master and then I would go and change the mix and send him a new thing to work on, and then I would change the mix again and he would work on it again, and it was crazy. I'm very thankful for Dale for that. He also masters like 90% of the stuff that I mix. So he mastered the Rufus album. He mastered the What So Not album back in the day. That's how I first met him. Yeah, I think the thing why Lapse is, well, I hope is interesting for 8 minutes is because it's so different. There's so much going on constantly that's changing. Nothing is ever just like staying the same, and I don't think anything really repeats in the track at all, like from start to finish. Vocal chops here, then they go away, other synth comes in. But I wouldn't say this is a good example of a track that if you're a like producer that you should try to make, because this for me is just about the concept, and it's just an album track, like, and you know, it's 8 minutes long, like not many people want to listen to that, so this is just a very self-indulgent track. Don't try to make a song like this. It's not, I don't know, it's not that, yeah. I wouldn't recommend it. What do I use to master my songs? Okay, it's very, very simple. Same thing where I'm just always talking about like keeping things simple and making sure just like the original sound is good. I have some weird stuff on my master for the stream right now, but Well, all I really put is a compressor, the fab filter compressor, and I'm doing like 1 or 2 dBs of gain reduction, and then the fab filter limiter, and that's doing up to a maximum of like 5 dBs of gain reduction. I don't like to go any further than that. It's generally when it starts to sound bad. So if I'm getting, if I can't make it sound the way I want without like staying within those limits, then I go back to the mix and I change the sounds. I'll do some more clipping, or I'll do whatever to try to make it fit. Do I pan my hats? Or do you like doing auto pan? It depends. Sometimes I've used auto pan on hats before, and yeah, I definitely like panning in general. I used to do I used to do LCR panning on all my tracks, which is like everything's either hard panned or straight down the middle. But yeah, like this thing now is panned to the, just an 808 hat really, panned to the right. And some of this stuff is like panned within. Yeah, it's panned to the left. Where did I do that? I don't know. Anyway, it's panned to the left. Yeah, panning's super important. The decision is just like, it just depends on the track and on the situation. Like, yeah, if it feels right, if I like it. The main hat, I always try to keep in the middle. It just never feels right to me if it's not in the middle, even though this is slightly to the right. It just doesn't feel right if the main energy's in the middle for me. But I've heard songs that I really like where the main hat's panned to the left or whatever. Bass layers. Okay, I think that Paluma in the chat, you already got a shout out, brother. Someone asked me about drums and I was like, oh, Big Tim. Anyway, the bass layers. Yeah, okay. Don't layer the basses. Just get I just have one big bass in this track, really. It is kind of layered actually, if I'm being honest, because there's these this thing, layers with this, layers with the, but I took that into account, and like the main bass has a really low sustain point so that the percussive bass has kind of room to breathe in there. Yeah, and this turned off, but this was, I think, sidechained. The main bass was sidechained to the rhythmic bass. Where is it? I'm lost in this session. Yeah, here we go. Oh no, it wasn't. That's too much sidechain. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, don't layer basses. Just get one that sounds good. Layering should always be a last resort. That's like the biggest thing in tracks I get sent to mix. That's the biggest thing that people do, is like unnecessary layering. Like I was working on a track on Sunday and there were 10 snare layers. I'm like, this is too much. This has got to stop. Whoa. My screen just turned on and off. I think that's my screen telling me that it's time to wrap the stream. Yeah, if there's any last questions, or if I didn't answer anything clear enough, then open the top perk hit. Yeah, just Durante, we should be getting tips from you, fam. We still have to get Durante and I have been cooking up a original together, but it's like we're like 3 years deep of trying to figure out what we're gonna do, but it's coming. Hopefully this year we can get it done, because that Eyes remix I love. It was so much fun. Yeah, boy. Yeah. A weird track that I don't recommend anyone do anything similar, because it's just like not fun, and a lot of people probably won't listen to it because it's so long and stuff. But it's important for my album. So, and I'm happy with it. Best monitors, headphones to mix. Ooh, PMCs. PMCs. Okay, headphones. I got to shout out this company. Is this Japanese? Where am I on this camera? Yeah. I have these. This is my second pair of these headphones. They're like $300. Which, as far as headphones go for mixing and mastering and stuff, is really cheap. They look really simple. They're made in like a Sony case, I think. But the company's called Phonon. They're a Japanese company. They just had a Kickstarter for like their next headphone. But this is called the SMB02, and like these headphones are amazing. It's my second pair. Like Dixon uses these headphones, Arme uses these headphones. I've been mixing in these for like 5 or 6 years. Like small Japanese company. And they just did a Kickstarter for their next set of headphones, SMBL2 or something. I threw my money down. I had to have my pair. I'm getting it in October. They're such good and so reasonably priced. Like $300 is accessible for everyone. Whereas like the monitors I'm using in this room are ATC SMB 25s, I think. It's like $8,000 monitors. So not really the best. It's just monitoring is really hard. I was using KRKs up until recently. I got some PMCs that are amazing. They're in my home studio. And then this is my friend's studio that I've recently inherited. So I have some extremely nice monitors. But yeah, with monitoring, if you have cheaper monitors that aren't as good, there's a lot of ways you can maximize how good they sound and can give you a lot of info. Like I mixed a lot of Solus on KRKs, so I mixed a lot of stuff on KRKs back in the day. If you just work quietly and experiment with placement in the room to make sure that there's no weird frequencies building up or whatever. Yeah, actually, KD, Ed Colhoun has a great idea. We should totally do a live stream at the Eyes Remix. That'd be rad. I know you've been a streamy boy, Durante. The Herman Miller chair. Yeah, this is actually the size B. It's one size too small because this is my friend's studio. I have a C at home, which is a bit bigger. I think this has given me like nerve problems on my legs. Like my legs are jacked up. Yeah, all right. Yeah, Durante, we'll do that. We should do that in the next few weeks. That'd be fun. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, nerds, for nerding out with me. I hope it was helpful. I'm sorry if it wasn't. This is the first one, so we're going to be getting better. If you got any feedback, just send me a message on Instagram. I probably talk to most of you guys anyway, so yeah. Oh, there we are. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. I'm not going to upload this because no one wants to. I just don't want to see that. Like, what is this? An hour of me just like babbling? No, not uploading, but I'll do more in the future. All right, guys. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really enjoy just nerding out like this. So thanks, guys. See ya.